Hey everybody, just like the last Joseph Chen analysis, we're only going to go over some of the things in this video, the things I think are most important and will help you most on the mats. Anyways, let's get started. Notice right off the bat, Kaynan attacks the knee and the head, and when Giancarlo starts defending at the head and shoulders, Kaynan goes for the single around the knees. As John Danaher says, when our opponents defend upper body, we attack lower body and vice versa. Now you're going to notice as this plays out, Kainan's main objective is going to be to pick that foot up towards his head and move it from side to side. That will help him destabilize Giancarlo. You know this word destabilization as Kazushi or off balance. So you need to get to a standing position, bring the leg to one side, bring the leg to the other side, and just continue to move. See what he's doing right now? He's trying to pick that foot up side to side, and after that, his next objective is going to be to try to get chest to back or get Giancarlo on his ass the way he's doing right now. You're going to notice as this continues to play, Kainan's just going to cycle through those objectives. First, pick the foot up towards his head and move it from side to side to try to get Giancarlo wobbly, destabilize him. Then after he does that, look, he did it right now. After that, he's going to try to get chest to back or put him on his ass. Let's rewind this so you can watch it again, and please understand that the end result of most wrestling exchanges are going to be either getting chest to back or putting one of the players on their ass. When you want to learn how to wrestle, you're going to play games with objectives. For example, in this case, you can play a single leg game, starting in the single leg. One player, pick the foot up, move it side to side. Second player, get their foot to the ground. You can play a second game, pick the foot up side to side, and then try to get chest to back. Then same objective for the first player, get your foot to the ground. These games will look something like this, and shout out to Greg Souders, he's the man.
Game 1, connection and movement. In this game, attacking player's job is to stay connected to the single leg in the single leg situation. As they stay connected to the single leg in the single leg situation, their job is to move their partner around and try to take the single leg and move it to different aspects of their body. The defending player's job is to stay balanced and try to remove their leg from the situation. If the leg gets removed from the situation, start again. Game 2, connection and destabilization. In this game, we're going to do the same as the game before. Attacking player is going to stay connected to the single leg situation, moving their partner around the mat, switching their leg from one part of their body to another. But to win this game, attacking player's job is to destabilize the defending player to their hips or their hands. Defending player, in this game, you're going to try to break connections and free your leg from the hold. If either player accomplishes their task, start again. Game 3, connection, destabilization, and hip access. In this game, attacking player is going to do the same as the two previous games, but while doing so, they're looking to access the defending player's hips. At any time during this game, attacking player is going to switch from the single leg connection to the body lock connecting at the hips. Defending player, you're going to do the same as the games before. Your job is to stay balanced and remove your leg from the single leg situation. If either player wins, start again.
So anyways, let's move on. You're going to notice that Giancarlo wants to capture Kainan's knee line. What does that mean? He literally wants his feet above Kainan's knee. Look what Kaynan does. Kaynan wants his feet below his knee. You see how Kainan's trying to push Giancarlo's feet below his knee? He's trying to free his knee line.
Right here, and Jeremy frees his knee. It's impossible to get a leg lock here, okay? Once the knee is free, past my hip, even if you catch like good grip here, he can always turn with it. Okay, I've got nothing to stop him turning. All right.
Giancarlo wants to keep his feet above Kainan's knee to capture his knee line, because capturing the knee line is a prerequisite for all leg locks anywhere, in gi or no gi.
I need to make sure the knee line is captured past the line of my hip. Okay.
Now you're going to notice after Kaynan gets his feet off of him and gets his feet below the knees, you're going to notice Kaynan is now heavy on the knees. Do you see how Kainan's heavy on the knees with his knee, his right hand, etc.?
It's all about the top pressure here. He's got a right hand, good position.
Perhaps another way to think about it is Kainan's first objective is to get Giancarlo's feet off of him and get them below his knees. After he gets the feet off and gets them below his knees, he tries to split the knees. Seriously, watch this and you're going to see that Kaynan keeps resetting half guard, but his objectives also reset as well. Every time Giancarlo is going to put his feet on him, he's going to get the feet off and get them below his knees, and then get heavy on the knees or split the knees.
Kaynan, Duarte on top in that knee cut position. And Marigali said, you know, no matter, because even there's no grips, he's going to use those frames He's going to use...
Depending on how you want to think about that, it is your choice. I'm just giving you different objectives to play around with. And just watch. Seriously, continue to watch as you're going to notice he keeps doing the same thing over and over again.
It's this never-ending cycle that you do it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes.
Now, you may not like Kaynan Duarte. You may think his jiu-jitsu is boring, and you're right, it is boring. But guess what? He's winning every single small battle, and there's nothing Giancarlo can actually do about it. So to me, it's effective jiu-jitsu. It's effective jiu-jitsu because he's literally not losing any of the exchanges. Even here, you notice, he's heavy on the knees and the hips as he tries to progress towards the shoulders now. He makes it his last objective. After he gets heavy on the knees and the hips, or he splits the knees, now he's trying to get heavy on the shoulders and the head somehow. Giancarlo fights him at the wrist because the wrist and hands are touching him, and Kaynan wants to keep his wrist and hands on Giancarlo's head and shoulders. It's simple jiu-jitsu, or rather the objectives he's following are very simple, and then he just resets everything. Now you're going to watch him reset it again. He has to get Giancarlo's feet off of him and get his feet below his knees. Watch, he's going to get the feet below the knees. Look, the feet are below the knees. Then he's getting heavy on the knees. Do you see him getting heavy on the knees in order to split the knees? And do you notice that splitting the knees is just another way to get the inside positioning? And Giancarlo keeps trying to put his feet back on Kaynan and get his feet above his knees, to be even more specific. Hey y'all, so I have a new passing course coming out that goes more in depth than what you hear me talking about in this breakdown. That said though, that passing course is only going to be available for a few days. So if you're watching this YouTube video and it's like 4 months later or like 3 weeks later, chances are that course is not available anymore. But if you are interested, I highly recommend you go to my Instagram. It's the same as my YouTube handle, and message me on there. Ciao. Anyways, what do you see Kaynan doing differently later on in the match than earlier? I think you see him attacking the head and shoulders way more than he did before. And when Giancarlo posts on him with his hands, he starts getting heavy on the wrist and the elbows. But he's only getting heavy on the wrist and the elbows so he can get to his final objective of getting heavy on the head and the shoulders any way he can. See how Giancarlo's putting more hands on Kaynan to keep him away, and then Kaynan starts stripping the hands and wrist off, but he's only stripping the wrist and hands off once again to try to get to the shoulders. Now, if he can't get to the shoulders, where do you think he goes next? Where do you think he goes next? You'll see later on. To answer my earlier question, when Giancarlo posts on his head, Kaynan clears his hand and wrist and goes to where instead of the shoulders. Anyways, this is the end of the breakdown because Kaynan literally does this for about 10 minutes straight. I can totally understand why that's boring to watch, because it is boring to watch, but I still think it's good and effective jiu-jitsu because he wins all of the small exchanges. Anyways, if you like this breakdown and it helped you, please like and subscribe. And if you are interested in the new passing course, please go to my Instagram and message me on there.